You are listening to the Boss Experience Podcast, a podcast with conversations about business growth, self-development, and maintaining a mindset to achieve business success. My name is Michele Davis, and I am a business strategist and coach, and I am your host. Let's get started. Welcome back to another episode of the Boss Experience, the podcast that helps coaches and entrepreneurs create offers that sell themselves with AI and automation so you can earn more while working less. My name is Michele Davis, and I'm your host. How many people have you heard say, whether it was you or someone else, or you saw it on social media, where you heard someone say, I could get that done if I could just get a VA. Or I need a VA to help me do XYZ. Or I need to hire a VA to just get this off my plate. And if you've ever heard that statement and if you've ever thought the same thing, this episode is definitely for you. Because today I'm sharing why automation is going to earn you more money in your business than delegation ever will. And why trying to hire your way to freedom is actually hurting your business. Most coaches think they have a lead problem, but what they really have is a system problem. If you're waking up every day wondering where your next client is coming from, posting on social media, praying somebody books with you, that's not sustainable. So I want to share with you how to get access to the exact system I use to handle everything in my business, from capturing leads, following up automatically with leads, booking appointments, and even chatting with people that have an interest in learning more about my business. To be honest, it's like having a full marketing team in your back pocket. So if you want a client-getting system that doesn't rely on luck or algorithms, head over to leads.gemstoneconsultingservices.com and see how this system can work for you. You get a free demo, and if you like what you see, you get to try the system out for free. So that's leads.gemstoneconsultingservices.com. When it comes to AI, the truth is, the very people you want to work with in your business are already seeing and experiencing AI. They're seeing it on social media, in their inbox, and even in their customer service experiences. So if you're a coach, marketer, or service provider and you don't know how to use AI yet, you're not just being left behind, you're replaceable. So whether you want to use AI to grow your business or help your clients grow theirs, Billie Jean is one of the few teaching you how to actually do that. Head over to AIagencyconsultant.com. That's AIagencyconsultant.com to get started. Okay, now back to the show. I'm going to start off with the first thing I see when it comes to automation versus delegation and why delegation is holding you back. And there's a few mistakes that coaches and entrepreneurs are making when it comes to this issue. And that is the desire to delegate their problems instead of solving them. The one thing I've always prided myself on is before I delegate anything is I have to know what I'm delegating. I have to know what the process is. And a big part of that is learning the process yourself. And it's crazy because people want to launch a business, but they don't want to learn how to operate that business. And if you're going to be successful, you have to set up your business for success. I can't say that enough. I say it all the time. If you're going to be successful in business, you have to set up your business for success. And a big part of that is knowing how your business operates, what's going right, what's going wrong, so that when you do incorporate an AI tool or any tool or delegate, you know what you're delegating. You know specifically what's going to get you the result that you want. And I get it. A lot of people are overwhelmed with information. They feel like it's easier to delegate something to someone else and let them figure it out rather than yourself. And you have to remember, you're the business owner. If you delegate something and you don't know what's going on, how are you even going to monitor what's going on with someone? You're going to have a more efficient and profitable business when you incorporate automation first and start earning money in your business before you start delegating tasks. and responsibilities. Some of those tasks include, when you think about coaching or any service provider business, are, you have to have somebody, generate your leads, right? You have to have someone manage your client onboarding. And when someone hits the pay button, you have to think what happens next and who's going to manage that, or how will that be managed? What does that look like for you and your business? Calendar booking, email marketing and management, social media posting, and that includes planning your content. What are you going to talk about? It's not really just showing up and just talking. It's about planning out your content and managing what goes out on your social media platforms. Instinctively, a lot of coaches make the mistake, and service-oriented entrepreneurs as well, make the mistake of like getting someone to do that. And unless you understand your role as the business owner and you set the tone for what that looks like, it's not really going to work the way that you intended, because it's not the VA's job to come in and run your business. It's not the VA's job to tell you what you should be doing in your business. If you're hiring someone, your goal is for them to help you grow. And you can only do that if you're the captain of your own ship. You have to be the captain and they're there to support your mission. But you first have to know what your mission is. And when you don't captain your own ship and you allow a VA or some other freelancer to kind of step into your business and take over a task you have not yet performed to perfection, or at least where you're getting results, there's a few things that happen. And I mentioned this before, is, one is you don't understand the process they're actually managing. You have no idea what's working and what's not. And when the VA gets overwhelmed or they get a better offer and they leave you, you're right back where you started, because you don't have the knowledge to really pick up the baton and keep moving things forward. So if you're building your business by arbitrage or outsourcing things you really don't know how to perform or understand, and you're just trying to get it off your plate without first understanding and being able to produce results yourself, you're setting yourself up for a big downfall. And I learned the hard way back when I had my career. If you're seeing me for the first time, I had a whole career before marketing and coaching, and that was nonprofit management. And I've managed as many as 35 people under me, not directly, but, I was responsible for 35 people, directors and different roles. And I learned the hard way early in my career. And I had a management career that spanned over 16 years. I'll never forget my first assistant. This was my first role in management. I had an assistant, and this assistant was phenomenal at Excel. I don't want to date myself, but this was back when if you could put some coding in an Excel spreadsheet, you were a rock star. You were a rock star. And this assistant was a rock star. He knew how to do whatever I needed to do in Excel. The big mistake I made as a manager is I never mastered that skill myself. I never had that person show me how it was done. And so eventually they kind of left. They left abruptly because it was something happening in their family. The next thing you know, they went on like emergency leave and then they never came back. And I was stuck. I was stuck because I didn't set the tone for what the process should be. And so I allowed that person, because I was so in awe over their skills and their expertise, that I allowed them to set the tone for what that process should look like. And as the leader or the supervisor, I should have been setting the tone. And so when they left, I was stuck because I didn't know how to extract the information. I couldn't run reports as efficiently as they had done because they were able to produce a report rather quickly. I couldn't do that. What I learned in my career, I was able to bring forward into my business, and know to never hire someone and not know how to perform the task myself, because I always, as the business owner, I always want to be in charge of how things happen in my business. I want to know if I'm producing a result, how did that result come to be? or if something didn't work, I need to be able to instruct the person or anyone that I outsource work to not to do a particular thing because I know that's not going to work. And I can actually have a conversation about what I want. And as opposed to them being the person that possesses the knowledge about my business, essentially, or that task, and them dictating that to me because I don't want to be involved or I don't really know the process myself. So be in charge of your own process and don't make the mistake of delegating something that you have not yet learned and you have not yet produced results in. And that brings me to my second point. Delegation without understanding is dangerous. I've seen it too many times. I gave you my own personal example. A coach or entrepreneur hires someone and assumes that that VA or that freelancer or person that says they know SEO or marketing has everything under control and assumes, you know what, they got it. I don't need to check on it. Even if they did check in on something, they wouldn't even know what they're checking on, right? Because they never learned the process. But here's what they don't realize is the VA or the person they're delegating to doesn't have the vision, the business owner does. They don't understand your offer like you do. So it's hard for them to really move you forward because you're relying on them to understand what your vision is instead of you sharing with them, this is how you want things done. And they're there to, and them being the support for you to get it done. And they're not thinkers necessarily, right? They're there to execute in action. They're not experts in the strategy like you are. And you have a lot of marketers that, are very good at what they do. You have a lot of VAs that are very good at what they do, but they're not necessarily going to be very good at doing what you do. And that's why you need to make sure you're the captain of your own ship because you need to make sure that as the expert in that particular strategy that you're providing the necessary guidance to get the results you want. And I've seen it happen too many times where someone outsources to someone, whether it's a VA, a marketing agency, and they think, oh, this person's getting it done. And then next thing you know, nothing's getting done. Or they don't know what they were supposed to do in the first place. So all they know is they're not getting results. And as an end result, nothing's improving in their business. So there's no leads coming in, no conversions, no growth. And a lot of times there's no explanation for why those things aren't happening. The other piece too is when you outsource things without having an understanding of what your expectation can be, you can very easily think, oh, I'm supposed to get 20 leads a month by doing XYZ, when that may not be realistic or the reality. And I say that because I've had small business owners that, where I managed their marketing in the past, and they had very unrealistic expectations of what, the number of leads they would get for what their budget allowed or what they were willing to allocate for their marketing. You save yourself a lot of headache when you just have a basic understanding of what is supposed to happen in your business. The other downside, by not understanding is if they set up a system and that system starts to get you results and there's a problem, they leave, your results are gone, right? Because you allowed them to take the system, the very system that got you results, because you didn't establish the system. You didn't consult with them about what their system was so that you could replicate those results, or you didn't hire a coach so that you could understand what results you were supposed to get or what that particular task execution was supposed to look like. And so as a result, when they leave, they take their system with them and you're right back at ground zero, despite having paid maybe thousands of dollars to hire this person and for that person to perform that task. The third point I want to mention is because I talked about, kind of the pitfalls of outsourcing. So let's talk about why automation is better and why automation is going to help you grow your business as opposed to leaving you stuck. The thing we have to understand about automation is something you set up and it just keeps going for you, right? It keeps working for you 24/7. You're not going to get 24/7 work out of someone that you're outsourcing work to because they're human. They have to rest, they take off time with their family. They can't produce for you 24/7. Automation can. Automation doesn't get sick. Automation doesn't take time off. Automation doesn't need training and supervision. and it works exactly the same every time, so that you have a chance and an opportunity to be in control over the results you're getting. Unlike if you're outsourcing a task to someone that's not a part of your company or your business. Automation also allows you to capture leads on autopilot, send instant follow-up messages to people that reach out to you or people that have questions, and in some cases, even manage your customer service. Automation can help you book your discovery calls or your strategy sessions. Automation can deliver downloads instantly or give someone the link to make a payment or get access to something or just simply take them to the next step in your process. Automation can even nurture someone so that they go from, just learning about you to actually making a buying decision because you're on top of mind, you're engaging with them in real time. And with automation, you're not outsourcing your expertise or your brain or your knowledge. You're building your knowledge into a system. And essentially, you're taking your brain and you're putting it into the system so it's going to work the same every time. And that's the difference. The business breakthrough I had and the breakthrough that I help my clients achieve is you don't need a VA to get you to the next level. You can make six figures all on your own without any team. Seriously. When I first started my business, I thought, oh my God, how am I going to do it all? There's so many hats I have to wear. I have to coach people. I have to do my marketing. I have to do this. I have to do that. And I was going to hire someone to help me. And I did hire people when I had my marketing and branding agency that I built and scaled. I had a team helping me in different aspects in that business. So yes, I grew that business to be successful. But when I first started, even though I was coming from a career and having knowledge and expertise, I had to grasp that I had to build my processes out. You don't want to bring someone into chaos to help you because it just creates more chaos and overwhelm for you. Because if I don't have my processes mapped out, how am I going to bring someone in, like a VA or someone else, and think that they're going to understand what's happening or think that they're going to make sense out of the very thing I haven't made sense of yet? So you really do need to work your business yourself and understand business and understand how to grow your business, get the coaching, get the support you need before you start bringing in other people. And that was a big part of the business breakthrough that I had to have before I could grow that website and branding company. I had to realize I didn't need a person to help me. I needed to buckle down and help myself. And I needed to establish processes in my business that were going to help me grow. The big mistake people think they need another strategy. If I just had the right strategy, I could do this, or my business would grow, or I would earn those six figures. And what you need is the system so that you know how things are supposed to operate. Once you have the system, it's just a matter of plugging things in from there. And when you have the system in place, anybody can walk in. Anybody can walk in and carry out the system. They can see it, they understand how it works, they understand what goes where, what is a part of what process is a part of what aspect of the system. And if you don't have a system and you're just like showing up and you're going to coach people, how does that really work? Especially when you're trying to deliver a service, a high value service to people. So my business didn't start off making multiple six figures. When I first started, I was struggling. But in having a career and all this management experience wasn't exactly helpful because I had to learn how to run a business. And so I help my clients just like I was able to help myself first. I help my clients get those leads into whatever their process is, but you have to map out what that process is. Are you getting people into a webinar? Like, what does your system look like? I help my clients map all of that out so they can understand what the process is. Where are they taking people? How are they positioning themselves as the expert that their ideal client should be signing on with to solve their problem? And that's not magic. It's the power of automation. It just helps things flow 24/7, as opposed to relying on someone to help things flow that may call out, that may quit on you and leave you high and dry. Automation will be there to support you no matter what, or until you stop paying for the tool. But as long as you're paying for the tool, automation will work for you. Last thing I want to share with you is how to actually get automation set up in your business without all of the tech overload and overwhelm. And let me be perfectly clear, because you hear a lot about automation, but you don't have to actually create the automation yourself. Because I know you're probably thinking, I don't know where to start. I'm not tech savvy. I don't understand enough about AI and automation. Or this whole thing sounds very complicated. And that's where my team comes in. We work with coaches and service providers to help you clarify your offer, map out your client journey. Because, a lot of times what you need is you need somebody to talk you through, like the process, and you have some things in your head. And a lot of times you just need someone to help you put it on the paper, to map it out, or put it on the computer rather, and help you map it out so you can see things visually. And then once we know what your customer journey is or your client journey, we can then power it with automation. And we use AI powered automation tools that will help you capture leads, follow up with your leads, book appointments on your calendar, fill your webinar or your workshop, or even answer your calls. You don't need to figure out the automation piece yourself. You just need to decide that you're done being stuck and take the necessary action to move yourself and your business forward. So let's just do a recap. The real cost of delegation, and we have to be honest, when you delegate without having a system, without knowing your system, and without having a system in place, you've lost control of your business. You don't learn how your business actually works or how you get results in your business. You spend more time checking on the person than actually doing the very work they're supposed to give you more time to do. Or your ability to grow ends up being dependent on them and not you. But when you automate, when you choose to use automation and you invest in AI tools, you can set up a system where you build assets and not tasks. You keep control, you understand what's working, what's not, what's going to lead to growth in your business and what's not. And you're able to scale your business without all of the burnout from the individual processes and trying to do things manually and hiring people that are a disappointment because they didn't deliver what you thought they were going to deliver. And you bring in a team after you have all of these things in place to help you move forward from that point forward. Bringing in a team without you having things in place, it's a recipe for disaster, and it's not going to give you the results that you're seeking. Automation is the foundation, and delegation is the support for the processes and the systems that already exist in your business. But everything starts with the foundation. And as I said earlier, you can't have success in your business unless you set your business up for success. So back to the question, which makes you money in your business, automation or delegation? Automation wins every time because automation gives you scalability, predictability, consistency, and profit without the payroll. So listen, if you're ready to build a business that doesn't collapse when someone quits, if you're tired of trying to manage people and find the next VA on Upwork or Fiverr that's going to take over all these tasks and supposedly move you forward, if you want freedom and consistency, automation is the key. And with that said, that's the end of this episode. And I just want to thank you for tuning in. Be sure to subscribe so that you know the next time I drop an episode. And if you haven't done so already and you feel like this episode really resonated with you and you found like you were able to get something you could take away, leave a review. Let me know what you think or send me a DM on Instagram. And you can find me at Michele Davis NYC, and that's Michele with one L, Michele Davis NYC on Instagram and Facebook and LinkedIn. It would also be helpful if you shared this episode with someone you know that definitely could use this information. So thanks once again for tuning in, and I can't wait for you to tune in to a future episode of the Boss Experience Podcast. Bye for now. Thank you for tuning in to the Boss Experience Podcast. Don't forget to leave a review for this episode and tune in next time.